Fred. What's up, everybody?
What's going on, y'all?
We got Kuba, good buddy of mine. I feel like I've known him forever, even though I just saw him at Woodstock last year, and we didn't even talk until we just did level 1. Oh, he did level 1, and I did it again with Dr. Morse's International School of Regenerative Detoxification. So he's got a great channel, guys. It's
Sustainability starts within.
Yes.
Yes.
He's a really solid guy. I don't know. We're gonna put this on both our channels. So
yeah, this is my buddy Kyle. He's got a YouTube channel called
Raw Vibrant Rejuvenation.
Raw Vibrant Rejuvenation.
So, yeah.
So basically, on both our channels, we talk about our healing journeys.
Mm-hmm.
This guy did a video with Robert Morse, and it's a really cool video. He interviews Dr. Robert Morse, and yeah, we both did the training. And we want to spread the light to the people, you know.
Yeah.
So we're here together.
Exactly. It's like you guys know when you meet people that are on the same wavelength, like especially with the health kick, with the true health, you start to. It's like you've known them forever. You know what I mean? I've just been hanging out with him and our buddy Jeremy and just like. Sonia, and it's just been an amazing time, and we thought we got to collaborate.
I'm like, do I know you already from somewhere?
I know.
Spiritual family.
Possibly.
Yeah. So I guess the big thing that we connected on is the juice thing.
Yes.
Drinking juice as healing, because when I arrived here in Florida, or in this coast of Florida, and I was eating food. And I see all my friends, all 3 of them, Kyle, Jeremy, and Sonia, they're all on like day 3 of a little juice feast. So like, you want to join? I'm like, all right. And then I joined the next day too. So we were all kind of juicing together this past week. It's really cool.
It's so much more easy and it's so different when you're doing it with other people. It really is. And
I know, it's actually like incredible. It's like, I can't believe that like usually I feel like weird because I'm doing these things to be cleansing and be clean, and I feel people think I'm like too extreme, too strict, and then I come here and I feel like I'm the one who's lacking because I got my almond butter and they're like looking at me with my almond butter.
We're lenient. We're the lenient raw crew or whatever.
Lenient raw food.
We're all the same. We're all the same. I mean, yeah. So we wanted to do a video about juicing. It's been a big part of our lives. Him more than me on a consistent basis. I used to juice a ton like 8-9 years ago when I first learned about the raw foods, but it kind of stopped completely for a while. And but he went, yeah, this is about solid food vacations. Do one and it will change your life. It will change your life. And yes. Specifically when you do over, you gotta do 90 days or more.
You gotta pass a certain threshold.
Yeah.
I say at least like a month,
I mean, at
least a month to do some serious flushing of the colon.
Right.
But if you really want to get connected to nature and everything, that's when it's like 90 days plus,
I think for anyone who has serious bowel stuff of any sort, even just IBS, 90 days, in my opinion, is what you need to do. I don't think you're gonna get your personally, but maybe I don't know.
Well, that's the thing actually. That's what I'm realizing later on, even after my juice feast in this journey, that okay, there's a level of cleaning out the digestive tract, the colon, of like all the backed up meals and food and mucus in there. But then there's deeper levels of healing where okay, maybe your colon is clean, but you can keep drinking liquids and yet you'll still be cleaning out because your cells begin to dump toxins out from anything that's interstitially in between your cells and intracellularly in your cells. It starts to get released when you're not eating food and always activating the digestive tract. Your body gets a chance to get that all out, and then it dumps it in the colon, and then you flush out more through the colon, through the kidneys, through the sweat, and even through the lungs.
Exactly. And in my case, at least, I had a lot of layers. Like, it just comes with layers. It's like sometimes you might think that you're done with all these mucus layers, But in my case,
Layer.
it was like I the longer I went, because I did it a little differently than a lot of people probably do it. I did 75 days on grape juice, and the fruit got too powerful the longer I went, and it was basically what was happening is it was just stuck. The deeper I was cleansing and cleaning my cells and my GI tract and my endocrine system, but particularly the GI tract, the longer I went, it makes sense, right? The layers that you get out first, those are the easiest, but it's the ones that you get stuck on that can be challenging. So, because that's how it was in my case. The grapes were getting too powerful. I even went to just 1 jar a day of juice for about a week, and it was just way too powerful.
Oh, wow.
And it was making my weaknesses. It was just like my weaknesses I've had for my whole life with the bowels. It was like right in my face. It's like, man, I thought I'd done all the work. That's why you just have to really understand what this is all about. It can show you your weaknesses. So yeah, with the layers, I had to actually go back for about 2 weeks on my solid food vacation from the grapes, do some veggie juice, some green juices, and some other mono fruit juices for a couple weeks. And then I finished with a month on orange juice, and it was just, that was able to to get to that layer that was stuck, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's just why I was saying that earlier about, like, I think 90 days is a pretty good mark for getting the really deep accumulations. But then again, everyone has a different issues, you know, and different GI issues. You know, it's all in the eye, right?
In the eye, you can see what's going on in the body. That is a whole nother
topic.
But I wanted to ask you about the grapes. Did you do freshly pressed grapes? Yes.
About 99% of the time, organic only.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple times when it was just like, you know how it is, guys who have juiced, where it was just like, oh, well, I couldn't get them, or I just, it was easier to get the bottle, but
yeah,
99
I know how that works too, yeah.
Right.
Maybe we should introduce how much we've done, so you guys get an idea. How many days did you do?
I did total 115 days, and I was also doing weekly dry fasts and the last 115 days I finished with a 5-day dry fast, which was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, really.
I didn't know that the last 5 days were dry.
Well, the last and it was like I did the dry fast and then a week of juicing afterwards. So I mean, the last part
incredible.
of it. So it wasn't 115 days of juicing, but it was 115 days of juicing and dry fasting. So it's that's just how I did it, and I did it, you know, my own way. I did herbs some of the time when I wanted to, and the whole time it was too. Honestly, this is what I have to say. If like you guys are complaining about spending all the money on herbs, herbs are powerful and everything, but and I love them. I love herbs.
Yes.
But a solid food vacation is, if you're committed to that, you're gonna just. I'm not gonna say don't do herbs with it if you can, but it can solve a lot of problems. In my case, a lot of issues. But yeah, and you did a 91.
I did 91 days. Yes.
But then you did a 30-day.
I did it.
This
See,
guy's
that's the
always
difference. Like the way Kyle is describing his juice journey, he was obviously understanding the detox and the healing process. That's why he's incorporating the herbs and the dry fasting. Whereas when I did my 91 days, I was kind of learning as I go. It was like all new to me, the juicing. Like I did maybe a couple months leading up to it, I was getting comfortable with juicing, but I didn't really understand this whole healing, the depth of healing, the way that I do now. So when I did a 30-day juice feast, the following year, it was a whole different story. I was just like, you know, the 91 days, I had a lot of struggles, up and downs, where the 30 days, I was just like having fun and just like, it just happened naturally. I didn't even plan it because I just loved juicing. And it was a different story because I understood the healing more, so I knew kind of what I was doing. I knew what juices to make, and I kept it 100% alive without any like, I did some, it wasn't 100%, it wasn't perfect, but the first one, like you said, I would buy pasteurized coconut water sometimes because, you know, I'm on the go or whatever. So it's like a different level of understanding. So I feel like the listeners, we're not sure where you are at. You might be at the beginning stages, just figuring it out, or you might already know about detox and cleansing, and you just want to take it to the next level. So hopefully our talk here will kind of shed some light to everyone, wherever you're at.
And I was still learning during it, always learning, you know. I'm kind of jealous of the way he did his first one. You know, he's so modest. I love this kid. I love him. But it's like, man, I wish it couldn't have been so aggressive, because it was heavy, man. I wish I could have incorporated more green juices for the most of the.
Yeah, because I did a variety. I did whatever I felt like juicing, you know.
Because that's going to be a lot less intense for you guys who don't know.
But now, like, that's the thing. Right now, I'm like, I want to do something. Now I'm getting more into the mono juices. I want to do something where I'm just on one type of juice, and using the herbs at the same time. You know.
It's a whole different ball game when your body's just dealing with one kind of energy. Man, that's a low flying plane. It's a whole nother ball game, you know. When you're on a mono fruit diet or a mono fruit juice, it's just so much more simple, and it's even more. It gives even more room for healing, because you're freeing up even more energy.
The simpler you get, I feel the more your body can heal.
What was it you said earlier? You said simplicity, not
what did
complexity?
You say? What did you say first before that led me to say that? We said something cool. It'll come to us at some point.
But yeah, you were saying about simplicity.
It's definitely all about simplicity. That's like one of the themes of my life. That's why I'm here with no shirt and just shorts and just drinking sugarcane juice.
Yeah.
Just like a one ingredient juices are really, really amazing. And this week when we were on juices, I did mainly just orange juice and grapefruit juice. So I was really on the astringent citrus. But man, by the end of the week, I was just like so powered up, just like so connected, so grounded. I think all of us were.
We were jacked, man. I drank like tons of key lime juice, and I was drinking the sugar cane. I was just like, I had to stop. Like I made it 10 days, and it was like, it's just more. It's like my weaknesses and the issues I was getting into on day like 60 of my grape juice fast, which or of that 115-day fast, right? Was part of the grape. You know, the grape juice fast was a big chunk of that. It's like now on 10 days, 8 days, I'm starting to get to that point a lot quicker, to these layers that weren't completely finished on 115 days. So I'm because this was only 2 months ago or so that I broke that solid food vacation, you know, and he did his first one 2 years ago. So we're kind of on the he's been consistent. Consistency is where it's at. It's like,
that's what I wanted to say. I think sometimes you might not see the results right away. You might be like, okay, you might not realize what this is doing for you. But if you stay consistent, you'll notice over time how much progress you make. And like Kyle said, you do a juice feast again, you realize, oh, it's easier to get to those layers because you've already dug that deep, and you've kept digging consistently, slowly but surely. And when it's time to like get that extra deeper dig, it gets easier and easier. But
really
but you go through levels. Like it could get easier and easier, and then you go a little too deep and you get some healing crisis, and you go through that, and then you got even deeper, you know. So the healing journey is very interesting. A lot of people will think that you could just eat raw fruits and vegetables and you'll be good for the rest of your life, you'll feel amazing. But when you really dig deep, you're getting into things that have been in your genetic structure since you were born, even since your parents' genetics. And once you start hitting those layers, you might actually experience some symptoms that are not pleasant. But if you understand the body and understand what's going on, you can be patient with yourself and just know, okay, I need to rest a bit, but keep on the journey, and you'll get through it, and then you feel better than you have before, and like it's kind of like a permanent better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you don't go back to that level.
Yeah,
so long as you stay with the healthy lifestyle and diet.
Right, exactly. And that goes hand in hand with all of it. I mean, you don't just do this sort of thing and be like, oh, I can go back to Krispy Kremes and Burger King or whatever you guys eat, you know, or You just
That's why there's a saying in this community that any fool can fast, but it takes a wise person to break a fast.
oh baby, yeah, it's true. And I have like a few really good points I want to talk about. What were we just talking about?
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was glad that you were just flowing. I was just feeding off you there, man.
Yeah, we talked about getting to that permanent, feeling good.
Yeah, we'll get back. I'll find that one again. But I did want to bring up, as you were talking about a minute ago and earlier, about how sometimes it's hard to know what's going on during it. It really is, because on my thing, 115 days, I didn't start realizing till a month after I broke it, and I didn't break it properly. And I had cooked food. I had some battles for a month and a half with the cooked food, and but even so, with the cooked food and everything and all that, I still realized that I was healed. So it takes time after you break the fast. It can take a solid food vacation. You do that, and it's going to take you some time. It might take you some time to realize where you've came, because you need to go back and integrate into, it might maybe not 100% raw diet, but maybe like 90% raw or 80%, whatever you're doing, just to see where you're at with your actual state of health. Because when you're doing a solid food vacation for so long, it's an intense thing, and you're not going to always know. You shouldn't do your blood pressure while you're on a juice fast, because it's going to be haywire. It just shows what's going on. You're digging deep. You know what I mean? And that's what it was like when we're talking about like going back to our old habits or lifestyles or whatnot. I'm going to tell you right here from my experience, and I know you're going to probably say the same. I know you're going to say the same thing. It's like, are you frustrated with your current habits and stuff that you can't break and all this? Go on a 90-day or so. Go to a 90-day solid food vacation, and you're not going to have that anymore. It's so powerful. It's going to wake you up even more. It's going to wake you up even more than you already are, and it's going to get you to such a more clear and balanced and content level with your and you got to do the emotional work during it, right? Wouldn't you say, like, you do this all, because once you do it, it's like you're doing it, you're committed.
Yeah, the emotional thing was tough for me because I was just not in the most supportive environment, which was a bit unfortunate. It made it harder because I was living in a place where it was in the middle of winter. First of all, it was cold. I was living with my mom who didn't really understand what I was doing and thought I was being dangerous with myself. They were doing construction on my building. That's why I like to compare my first juice feast, 90 days, to the 30 day, where the 30 day I did in the summertime. I was living in a big house. I was out in nature all the time. And I feel like the second one, the shorter one, was a more actually going deeper in the emotional, because I was feeling good physically. I was even running and getting more into exercise as I juiced, which was really interesting. But I felt like every week I would feel like this, I would feel good, and then by the end of the week I would start feeling like emotionally down, really emotionally down. So I felt like the second one was more going deep on the emotional level. And I felt like every week it was like a roller coaster of emotions, where every week I would get that emotional down, but it would be like a smaller dip than the previous week, and then it would be like a smaller dip. So I feel like my emotional well-being was like stabilizing. But I was definitely feeling that the first one was more of a physical, the second one was definitely more of an emotional.
Wow.
In my experience. But both are both obviously.
Right.
But the emotional is the big one.
Right. Wow. It's amazing.
But I also had something I was thinking of. Yeah, we can probably talk about a million things when it comes to juice feast.
Yeah, right. Rest is something I just thought about.
Rest, yeah.
Not just on a water fast or a dry fast should you rest, in my opinion. Solid food vacation it's because you're also hitting more than one base. You're resting, and when you're resting, maybe you can do some breath work or some emotional work or meditation or whatever it is.
Like walks, yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Rest.
the thing. That's what I was
Key.
actually going to say, that when I was like trying to be like, oh, I'm just eating fruits and vegetables and I enjoy this so much, yet why do I keep falling back into old habits? That the juice feast actually helped me break through those habits, and I stayed fully raw for that year, 1 year, and then I fell off again.
A whole year, fully raw?
A whole year, yes. Because the juice feast finally got me
him
to get to that side.
Right, yeah.
And yeah.
No, go.
Yeah, that's it. I was gonna link it to the other thing that you're talking about, the rest, where during that juice feast, it helped me get to that fully raw side and break those cravings. But it also made me realize how much my body needs to rest, and my body was just asking me to rest. I remember at the beginning I had back pains and my knees started getting inflamed, and I just let go of all these ambitions of like wanting to certain levels of strength and sport, where I just like, screw it, I'm gonna focus on healing and just take it easy for a while. And it was interesting. Near the end of the juice feast, I was actually like the second half I was like going to the gym, playing soccer and everything, but it definitely took a period of like just letting go and just really allowing the body to rest. But even after that, depending on what I'm doing in my life, but when I'm really trying to cleanse, I know that it's just good for my body to rest and relax, so my body could do the healing. But it feels like you had something to say when I said that I broke the cravings
stuff to say, but...
and I stayed fully raw.
Oh, I was just gonna say, that the power of what we're talking about, a long juice feast, long solid food vacation. Man, he was a whole year raw from that. Man, this guy's inspiring.
I only fell off, it was around the Christmas time, because I did it January, February, March, but I actually started like mid-December, because I tried to do a juice feast. It was like December 1st, I'm gonna do 14 days orange juice. I just felt like it would be cool to do orange juice, but I was still doing pasteurized orange juice. And I did a lot of pasteurized orange juice. That lasted 3 days. By the third night, I had a salad. And then that whole month, that couple of weeks was a struggle, like a couple of days juice, then back to cooked or whatever. And then I called up John Rose and I made a plan like, all right, what I'm going to do now is, since I'm still falling back into food, I'm just going to do, you know, kind of like a raw till 4 movement. I was like, I'm going to juice till 4, like a juice till dinner, where dinner I can eat fruit. So if I ever had a craving to eat, I would just make it fruit. So mid-December is basically when I started fully raw, where I did juice till fruit, and then January 1st I was ready, bam, juice feast. And I did not plan 90 days. I was just like, I'm gonna go ideally the distance, which John Rose talks about, which means going until you basically flushed out everything.
Exactly.
That was like, yeah, that would be the ideal. But if I could do 10 days, I'll still be stoked. If I could do a month, I'll be stoked. If I can do 3 days, whatever, I'm just going 1 day at a time. And I just went 1 day at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 day at a time. Next thing you know, it's like day 50 something. And I'm like, man, how am I going to go back to food? Like, I'm not ready for that. It's hard to go back to food because you get so into it. And it's just like eating food every day is so overrated. So overrated. You can go so long on juice or liquids or even just air.
There can be times during it where it's like, you might get sick of, you know, if you're doing mono juices like I was mostly black grapes, purple black grapes, but there was a couple times, you know, I would do the red too, and sometimes the red ones were just like, it would make me gag a little bit, but most of it, once you get past a certain level, you're like, how could I ever not want to do this, right? How could I, like this right here is complete electrical energy in my body. You start to really understand it, and you're like, how could I ever not do this, you know? And the hardest thing is, like I say a lot of the time, is like just starting, for me at least. Once I start that fast, whatever it is, water fast, juice fast, dry fast, I'm good, like I'm going. So just
starting is the hardest.
Starting's the hardest, and breaking's the hardest. Which one's harder, man?
Starting and like getting through a certain momentum. The beginning, like when people are like, whoa, day 50, day 60, day 83 of a juice, like they think like, wow, that's amazing, that must be so hard. I'm like,
it's just one foot over
the
other.
Easy. It's like,
right?
If you told me at day 5, wow, that's amazing, I'll be like, thank you, because this has been tough to get to day 5.
Yeah.
Day 7. After the second week, you're just like, all right, this is not hard anymore. It's not hard. Like, don't let the big numbers scare you. It's really just starting. Once you're starting, you got the momentum. It's easy. It's a pleasure. In fact, it's a pleasure. And it's just like you get excited to make another juice. You know.
The momentum really just carries you away for sure. It just gets you in.
So I find it interesting that you said that the breaking is the hardest, because I didn't find that myself. I was really prepared to break it. But like I said, I was working with John Rose. He was guiding me through this juice feast, so I was just like really
wow.
getting ready for the break.
Yeah.
I had my prunes soaked and.
Yeah, that's I was the opposite of that. So.
so me, it was a good 2 weeks of breaking. I was mainly on, I was juiced to fruit again and mainly on grapes, some melon.
Nice.
And dude, I was losing more weight than on the juice feast. I started getting some rashes.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, whoa, something is going on. And like sometimes I'm sad that I did not continue because it was a good 2 weeks and then Easter came, you know? And then I like fit in with the family, normal people, stuff, and ate weird stuff for breakfast like mango and then sauerkraut. And next thing you know, from there, like it was hard to get back on the. I basically suppressed the healing from there on, for that time of my life.
But you did quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm just sad that like when those rashes showed up, I wish I pushed through the end of that, but I kind of stopped it.
So that was 2 weeks.
2 weeks after the juice feast, I got more skinny. I lost more weight. I was like, this doesn't make sense, but yet somehow in my intuition, it makes perfect sense.
It's just practice, and now, like you said, on that 31-day one, now it just takes. That's how I was. 115 days, like I fell apart after about 2 weeks. I was like, I broke it, and then just fell apart. But it's just
after 2 weeks, after the
because it's hard. It's hard to. I think I don't know what's harder. They're both hard. Starting a fast and breaking a fast. They're just so hard. When you're in it, you're in it.
You're flowing.
Yeah, yeah.
This lifestyle in general is like, it's not easy when you're around other people who are not in this lifestyle. That's the thing. I'm sure you fell off or it was hard.
Yeah.
Because of all our influence and social influence. You know, this is not a normal thing that we're doing.
Yeah, the whole thing, I was like, man, if I was in another country where there wasn't like all these opportunities to go and get cooked food, go get some cooked vegan food or whatever it was. It's like, man, if I was in like South America, or even if I just had someone with for support, because I've been completely isolated for most of my journey, but yeah, it's just like having that in your face, and even if you're not like seeking it out, like even if you're not driving by a restaurant or a health food store or whatever, we can pick up on that subconsciously. Those of us who are in tune with our energetic abilities. Wouldn't you say, like it's a collective subconscious thing? So it's like there's so much of that energy in the world that's gonna rub off. You know, it's gonna rub off on just feeling like you're really isolated.
Yeah. And
doing something, because you got the vegan, and then you got the you got plant-based, you got vegan, you got fruitarian, and then you got raw vegan, or you got raw vegan, then fruitarian.
Yeah.
So
liquidarian and all that.
So when you're doing these really outlandish things to most people,
yeah, I totally resonate. I remember walking down the street. I was staying in Miami this winter, and I'll basically drink a lot of orange juice and apple juice and doing the best to keep it raw. Sometimes not perfect, but still like really clean, really different than what's normal in society. You know, on a Friday night, it's normal to go to a restaurant and eat random stuff, like hundreds of ingredients in one meal. And I just remember walking by the pizza place, and I'm like, sometimes I wish I could just eat pizza like the normal kids, you know? I remember having that thought, and I'm just like, I don't care about the pizza. It's like, it's not even really on my frequency, but I just want to like fit in. I just want to do what everyone's doing and just not have to like think about what I'm eating, which I feel like you don't have to think about it if you're in tune with nature, but like you're saying, the society's kind of like set up that way where
it's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you if you're not sound enough in your own game, whatever that means for you. You know what I mean? If you're not just solid enough in your whatever it is, your meditation practice, whatever you guys do. For me, it was like the longer I went, because it's been about 20 months fruit mostly, except a lot of 100% stints, a lot of long fasts and stuff. I mean, not a lot, but long periods of just on the fruit, and then 12-day water fast, stuff like that. And it's like the longer I've been doing this, it's like, and the longer that I wasn't totally doing all the emotional work and the getting dialed in with myself and my emotions and all that at the highest level is I have to do it at the highest level. That's what this whole thing has been about for me, is realigning with my spirituality, basically just being crystallized back in my spirituality and the highest level I can. And it's like, so the more that I've been not doing 100% of the emotional work, like most of the time I've been doing 90%, but 90% wasn't enough. So it's like the more I went, I felt more isolated, and the longer I went, it's like I found myself like craving and eating food that I would never eat in the past 10 years, because I've been very health conscious, according to most people would look up to me for health stuff, even though I was like always had the next health issue, because I never had true healing until now. And so yeah, big rant here, but it's just to sum it up, like it's like the longer I went on the truth, the fruit and the veggies raw only, mostly fruit, and digging deeper and deeper. It's like I had a time when I ate Pizza Hut pizza and a Domino's this last summer, and cheese. I didn't have, but still, it's like I would never, like I'd been gluten and dairy free for like 8 or 9 years before that. Like I would never do that, but you get to this point if you don't get solid enough in your emotional stuff, because the emotional stuff might not come up on the first one. I don't know, like if they just didn't for you on your 91 days.
They did for sure.
They did for sure, but you just weren't.
Because
you weren't
like I
doing.
told you, my environment was not the best, and
yeah,
like I did some crying for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like alone. Whereas like the second one, it was a different kind of. It was more like being more in tune with my emotional stuff, but not because of like the environment and all that. It was just because I was going deeper.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to explain like exactly how that stuff all works.
Yeah, it is. But at some point, I think you're gonna face them. If you haven't faced it yet on whatever health journey you're doing, if you're doing some real digging, if you're watching our channels, chances are you have already.
Or you're inspired to do so.
Correct. Just be prepared for what can come hit you.
So maybe like
because the emotional stuff is going to hit you at some point, and the cleaner you get on the raw foods, you're going to have to deal with the stuff that has been locked inside you, and you haven't been able to figure out. You haven't been able to come to clarity with.
Starts releasing. Because if you think about it, a lot of times we use food to basically numb ourselves. Think about in the evening, you're tired or you're not feeling good, you just want to eat.